Hi, can you hear me?
We're not hearing you.
Hello, Kano. How are you?
Okay, yourself? Can you hear me now? Still can't hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now perfectly.
Hello.
Howdy.
It's so ironic that I'm in a room now with technology experts, and here we are. Technology has its dull days as well.
Exactly.
Well, each one of these shows, they've got a different character set. It's like, okay, if you go into StreamYard, it's this. If you go into Google Meet, it's that. If you go into Amazon Chime, it's thus and such. And Zoom, it's
Yeah,
one other thing. So like, oof, okay. So it's easy to go in with one setting and that doesn't quite work.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's when I get invited on a Zoom call, it
Mhm.
affects StreamYard. Like I got to now uninstall Zoom, then get onto StreamYard, and if I need to do a podcast on Zoom, then I need to, install Zoom again. So I'm like, okay, let me just like put it down to StreamYard. If anybody wants to do anything on Zoom, I'm like, no, just StreamYard, please, if possible. But thank you, Charles and Rox, for coming on to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. Much appreciated. This is actually the first time of the show since I've had a duo on the podcast. So
Wow.
that's another milestone for me. That's another milestone. I'm not sure, is it like, since it's the first time on the show, I know authors have collaborated, on many books, but is it the first, like, is it a trend now for like authors to collaborate the way you guys do and to come onto a show together?
So
Just
we're
like out of
actually
curiosity.
we're actually co-authors. So we work on all of our books together. We have an LLC partnership for all
Okay.
of our stuff, and so that's we write that way. It's just how we work.
Okay. So, like for listeners who want to be co-authors on a book, like is like as you said, like it's all shared. When it comes to the royalties and so on, you guys just split it 50%.
Yeah.
It's all
Correct.
even. It's all even. Okay, cool. No, thanks for that. So before we get to the books itself and your creative journey on actually composing the books, let's start with history about each of you. Um, you know, till the time that you guys actually came together. Rox, we can start with you. Being an author, was it something that you always wanted to do with your life, or was it something that came on, at a later stage?
What an interesting question. So, actually, the truth of the matter is, at one point in time, I hired Charles for a job at a company that I was working at
Many moons ago.
a while ago. And so I hired him, and we ended up working together in the techno environment for a technology company. And
Okay.
so we really weren't writing at that point. Then we moved from one company to another and kind of played leapfrog, going to different companies. You know how you do when you want to change jobs. And then we
Yeah.
did start writing non-fictional materials. We wrote ups, we wrote white papers, and that kind of stuff.
And
Okay.
but the problem with the white papers and the tech manuals is they're out of date almost as fast as you can write them. And so
Yeah.
the Auerbach people were like, okay, can you do a refresh on this? I said, it's only been out a couple of weeks practically. And they said, well, yeah, but it takes longer than, so would you? And I went, and I got fed up with knocked off. And Rox was like, well, we're not done yet. Okay, so that was sort of the last warning. I should have known better. But she shows up a couple of months later with a draft of a fictional book with technical details baked in, and I have to admit, I was tempted, but I'm like, no, I'm not quite sure. The closing argument that she gave was, we can kill people, Charles, and not go to jail. Okay, So that was that one got me. All right, fine. So we lined up some people that we didn't really like, and they became the bad guys that are no longer part of the fictional world.
So technology has played a huge role in both of your lives, till date. It's something that you
Professional
could
careers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Part of our professional careers. Yes.
Okay. So with how technology is evolving in modern day and age, what's your guys' opinions and thoughts about it?
Well,
Is it evolving in a positive way or a negative way?
Well, we look at technology objectively. We try to be able to figure out, okay, what does it do? What's the good stuff? And then we put on the Charles hat, and then I try and figure out what's the bad stuff that could happen. And so when I put the Charles hat on and start looking at the difficulty, the horrible things, the cryptocurrencies that are being used for money laundering, and the ransomwares that come through, instead of pushing good stuff to people, it pushes bad stuff and holds them hostage for a ransom. So that information kind of permeates our thinking. It's just, I've done it for so many decades that it's, this is, I look at this and I analyze. I look at it, analyze them, and it finds its way in to the story threads as real technical threats. But we use fictional characters to be able to highlight the story thread and make it an enjoyable read.
So since you mentioned cryptocurrencies, some will say that there's a lot of pros, with it as well, or with blockchain in general, making the world more decentralized. Would you see that as like positive for us as humanity?
It's potentially very positive. The problem with it is it can be hacked. Anything that can be hacked has a potential threat side to it. And so it's a matter of, can we have the discipline? Can we have people that we trust? Do we know that somebody's not going to go, set up and scam everybody's life savings only to fold up the tent and walk away? It has potential. Yes, all technology has potential, and it has potential most times for very positive things. It's only the people that want to take shortcuts, that want to take advantage, that probably were bullies in the schoolyard when they were 4, that want to break things.
Yeah. I guess this will be a good time to bring up artificial intelligence, because you mentioned shortcuts. This is normally a question I bring up like at the end of the show. But as you said, with people attempting to take shortcuts to monetize work easily, we know Amazon is a flooded market. Actually, any market out there that sells digital products, there's technology now with artificial intelligence. I can create an ebook in 5 minutes. I can upload it on Amazon and I can monetize it. How do you guys feel as traditional authors about that?
I have to disparage that as much as I'd like to. It's not something that I favor. It is. It's cheating, and it's it's that 5 minute your comment. Well, in 5 minutes I can have an ebook and upload it, and then wait for the royalties to come in. The problem is it reads like somebody hacked something out, slopped it up, and it wasn't graded, it wasn't proofed, it wasn't sanitized for human consumption, and that's the problem with the AI material. But yes, and some of the and yeah, we track the AI stuff, get it as a CTO for our small press company. Say, all right, can we use this, and how? And how can we use this responsibly? So, sometimes it takes you take the dark side of the technology and kind of weed through it to find what's useful, practical, and enjoyable for people to consume. We've been hit with people who say, "Here, I'll do a review for you in 20 minutes," and it came back pretty much that fast, and it was all wrong. they had just dumped in our names. It had scanned the material from our website, but it didn't get into that book that they were supposed to review, and we caught them on it. And they went, oh, gee, gosh, is my face red? You saw that, huh? I said, yeah, you quoted the wrong things. You didn't read it. And you just fit it into an AI machine. That's not the kind of people I want to associate with, that think that they can just, cut corners and then wait for a paycheck. It's like, no.
So AI is interesting, from the perspective of, it artificial intelligence reads everything it can get its hands on. It consumes everything. Therefore, when it is given something back, it can be a summary of something that has already been done. So it's taking somebody's creativity and capitalizing on it. And as you say, you can publish it immediately. Well, is the original creator of that being hurt because of that? Is their intellectual property being pirated, sabotaged, whatever the word is that you want to use? And is that a problem? Can it be a helping hand? Sure. And you see lots of little commercials from different organizations like, write an email newsletter to all of my fans about my new product, and it just whoops it out in seconds. That's different than an entire book.
Yeah. So if you were sitting in government right now, if you were sitting in Congress right now, what would you put in place, because it's out of control, to be honest about it, it's out of control. How do you control this? How do you implement legislation that's going to control this, that's not going to affect traditional creators out there in the world, from their work? Because from what I've heard on the podcast till date, when it comes to the topic of artificial intelligence, traditional authors are dropping the price on Amazon because it's so flooded. Because if I use AI, the dark side of it now, I put a book together, upload it on Amazon, I'm selling it for $6.99. And then I've also got an author now who spent the last year also now putting a book together. He has to now drop that price to like $3.99, $4.99 just to get traction on it. So that's how they're getting hurt in that way. And the second way that authors, that any form of creative is getting hurt is that they're giving up on themselves. They're like, I'm not going to spend the next year or two, being, living my dream, putting my heart and soul into this book just for a good percentage, which is probably millions of people out there globally right now who are just doing it so easily and monetizing more than I could. So how do I sustain myself? It's so what would like you say, just throwing it out there, like, how do we control this?
I don't know that you can control AI per se. You can't control technology. I think the difference is people like Amazon actually have it on their website now. When you upload a book, you have to claim whether or not it has AI content. So at least the buyer knows whether or not they're getting the actual creation or they're getting something that was AI generated. That's one thing. The other thing is by claiming it, that means that you can advertise, mine is not written with AI. And to be honest with you, we took a little chance last year and we released a children's book that had all of our written content, but the artwork that was in it is all AI. So we were able to blend and claim, pardon me, the words are ours 100%, but the pictures are not, and kind of giving that difference to the consumer. Consumers have to get savvy. Does it read better? Did I read something that was absolutely dreadful and it was written by AI? Then talk about it and say how bad it was.
Yeah. I'm actually familiar with, when Amazon does ask, a question. I mean, even if you look at social media platforms today, before you post something, you can check whether it was, AI generated. But now, what if I choose not to tick it or not be honest that it's AI generated and still uploaded? what checks, are done in the background with Amazon, because it's just getting so much more advanced. Like just the other day, or not the other day, it was like, last week sometime. So Elon Musk, he's launched Grok 3. Okay. So I'm a curious guy. I love to test out new platforms that come out. Whether I'm going to use it or not, it's just that I want to keep, my foot in that pond just to see what happens, how it progresses, what can it do, what can't it do. So I ended up getting on the waiting list to use Grok 3, and I went on and I was blown away. When I compared to ChatGPT and DeepSeek, I was like, wow, wow. And if I become a master at prompts, and this is me now, watching all these YouTube videos of all these influencers and what they're doing and so on. If you become a master at the prompts, it is so hard. For me personally, this is my opinion, it is so hard to differentiate whether this was done by a computer, a machine, or a human. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. And my main mandate, with what I do and with the podcast is, I don't want creators to give up on their passion. I'm here to say, and with the guests that I have on as well, don't give up. Don't be, bullied by technology. Use it, as you said, Charles, responsibly. See where you can use it. I'm not saying completely ignore it, and be ignorant that, it's not going to be a part of the future to come. You can still use it responsibly, but still put out original work. Still do your thing, because I truly believe that if you put your heart and soul into it and your heart is in the good place, you will succeed. It'll take time, but you will succeed, doing what you love.
Yeah.
And I would actually liken that to artwork. If you buy a piece of art that was written or that was painted, drawn by a master, you're going to pay an expensive price for that artwork. If you buy a reproduction or a print of that, you're going to spend lots less. And I kind of think that's where eventually it will go. Creatives shouldn't be discounting their work if their work is good, because the cream will rise to the top. I honestly believe that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, there's billions of people in the world, and every one of us as creators, we will find our audience. We will find our community, just like the two of you. You have your set community. No matter what you push out, you will always have a community behind you to support you. So thank you for your input, on the topic, a very critical topic, in this day and age that we're living in. So let's move over to you guys' books, the Enigma, the series, what started all, what it's about. You don't have to share all the details. Of course, we want people to purchase your work to support, your creative journey. So let's jump into that, wherever you would love to start.
Okay, so the press release that was forwarded to you, where we had, and this is, I'm going to tie this back to the AI conversation we just came off of, because we got first place in Techno-Thriller for the Enigma Forced. Now, that's the second book in the trilogy series, the Heirs. And when that award came in, it was ours. We didn't have an AI engine sculpting the story threads. We didn't have an AI engine helping us to do the characters. That is all us. And so the gratification of knowing that it was graded by our peers and judges that had read it and said, this is the winner for this particular category for this book. It hits so many notes, and that's very gratifying. Imagine getting that, and half of it done by an AI engine, and be like, well, gee, I guess the AI engine should share in that too. We don't have to share that award with anything except Breakfield and Rox.
Right. No, that makes sense. So at the moment, you have two books that are out.
Well, no, quite honestly, at this moment, we actually have like 30 books that are out. We've been writing for a while. We do have a series, and that's actually highlighted behind us on the screen, and that's called, the original Enigma series, and it goes from the Enigma Factor, all the way to the Enigma Threat, which, by the way, has a lot of AI in it. Just so you know, we dealt with a lot of AI. There's 12 books in that particular series. And then we decided we would do the next generation. And so we launched a trilogy for the Enigma Heirs. And that was the one that Charles was just referencing, was Enigma Forced, which was book 2 in that trilogy. And in fact, book 3 in that trilogy, Enigma Jewels, will be out within the next month and available for pre-order if anyone is interested in doing that. In addition to that, we also have a group that we are a part of where we contribute books once a year to the underground authors. And so this is a group of stories. They're actually cozy mysteries, and they take place in Magnolia Bluff, Texas, which is this wonderful little sleepy town near the Burnett Reservoir, near the hill country in Texas, which is beautiful. If you ever get a chance to come to Texas, Keno, we'll take you there. And it's called the Ransom Enigma is the other one that won an award in the press release that you had, and that's part of the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. That's an interesting series because there are actually around a dozen authors a year that partake in writing a book into that series every year. We have put in 3 years worth of books, so that's 1 book a year for us. And the next one for that, our contribution to Magnolia Bluff, is due in August of this year.
So we have some shared characters between the different books, but each book is written as a standalone. So we may have shared characters like the police chief. I mean, he's always busy unraveling a murder mystery. But we each show up with our own inventory of folks to be able to paint the kind of story we like, flavored with this. Let's just be fair. We're not going to take you to Magnolia Bluff because anybody that goes there, usually gets whacked. So it's a good thing. It's a fictional town that has so much crime in it that it's hard to believe. But it's a fun exercise for us because it takes us out of the techno-thriller genre and puts us into the cozy mystery arena, and we get to exercise our writing muscles, as it were, to be able to have some fun and deliver great stories. And the award helped reinforce that we're on the right track from our writing abilities.
Yeah, I am enjoying how you guys have put this together. I am. There's really being creative and innovative as well. Like a storyline, correct me if I'm wrong, but like a storyline, but linked to, the real world.
Exactly right. We personally have to draw on our real life experiences. And I think a lot of writers do that one way or another, but we do. We think that's a very important thing. And years ago, when we started writing, we actually came up with a tagline. And our tagline was, "Technology is today's weapon of choice." And so that's why a lot of our underlying elements of our stories will include some little technology issue, problem, concern, like, ransomware, cryptocurrency, AI. We kind of smeared that into a lot of our stories.
Yeah. And I mean, this is also educating the masses, if anything. It's educating the masses.
Some people say, is this true? Can you really do some of this stuff? I said, yeah. That was part of the security work that I did for some of the major corporations around the planet. You do voice, you got to have it secure. If you're going to do anything, on the internet, it's got to be secure. So everything I ever touched always had the security fingerprints on it, and it had to be have a good seal of approval before it got implemented.
Yeah, yeah. On, I want to take a few steps back here when we mentioned blockchain at the start. For creators, they embracing it because of direct payments that can happen to them now, where there can be no middleman. Now we're going into smart contracts. So if I am performing, or whether it can be related now if you're a musician, whether it's related to your publishing and your track now gets played on radio, for example, it first goes to the PRO, and then the PRO actually pays you out. So musicians are now embracing, and record labels are embracing blockchain, because now with smart contracts, I can get paid directly and I can get paid in real time. So we see this, as a positive. But there's still loopholes, with regards to security as well.
Yeah.
And also when it comes to your IP now and using the blockchain, for that.
So it's new technology because, the smart contracts, the extra digital field, like in Ethereum, you can basically append information in. So, somebody buys your stuff and then they resell it to somebody else. Maybe then that revenue shows up as, okay, you still owe some money on that. I don't care. You bought it you didn't buy it from him, but the blockchain will track that activity.
Yeah.
So that's a very positive thing. It hasn't really been exploited well enough for books. That's one of the things that people are looking to be able to do. So that was one of the topics of conversation that we did at one of the talks that we did last year. What's going down? How does it work? The use of cryptocurrency, and we speculated about here's a way to be able to do technology and maybe have a story online available, and people show up using cryptocurrency to be able to purchase it real time, and maybe weave in some of the more advanced AI, generative AI technology to be able to help illustrate it, almost like a video game with what we were postulating.
Yeah. So with your series, 30 books, right? That's a lot. That's a lot. How far, do you want to go with it? Are you going with it as, new integrations come into play, that actually lays down the foundation or blueprint for the next book? So, which means there'll probably be a point where you actually will never stop. What's the end goal with your work?
Until we're tired of writing, is the easy answer. And you're right. Technology is a conveyor belt of change that just comes along and passes us by, and we can pick up one element of it and make a story about that easily. It's a never-ending thing.
We're storytellers. Yeah, that's the bottom line. And it could be in the technology world. It could be in cozy mysteries. It could be romance. Or children's books. The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes it fun, because it's not, there's no script that we have to go do this on a regular basis. Although, we're compelled to be able to turn in novels for consumption, like in Magnolia Bluff. But that's one of those things that is always in the back of our mind. When you're in retail, and I've been in retail, the bookstore manager, people always came in and they always asked one thing: what's new? So as a writer, you need to consider that okay, I've written these books and that's all I'm ever going to do. Consider, what else you can teach yourself. And that's this. You may find this amusing. When I'm working with the AI for graphics, or some sort of advertisement that I want to be able to put out in a video format, it teaches me I get to learn from it. It's not the other way around. If you're working on it correctly.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're doing it correctly, that does make sense. So when it comes to now the global awards and awards that you have both won, when it comes to the metrics of it, okay, creative writing versus how you're marketing it, how does it stand out, to the audience? What have you been awarded for when it comes to the metric? What makes you stand out?
It's interesting. We've received a lot of awards over the years, and some of them specifically have been because of the technology we chose. Others has been because of the characters that we develop and how well developed the characters are and relatable the characters are. We've also gotten awards for we produce book trailers for most of our books, and so we've had awards for our book trailers. We also do audiobooks for the majority of our Enigma books, and the audios are performed by a master voice actor called Derek Scholes. And with his help, we have won awards because of the narration. It's just phenomenal. So we have a nice variety of awards. It's always feels good to get an award, but we try to optimize it and share it with people so that they know that this is not just a flash in the pan book. This book actually, it got some wings because someone gave it an award.
It's impacting someone's life.
Yeah.
That's what it's doing. It's actually, doing something for the benefit of humanity.
Well,
That's what books like this is supposed to.
Our first book, Identity Theft. We were talking to somebody at a book show, and I thought she was going to crumble in front of our table because we were talking about identity theft, and she goes, I wished I had read that book before I got ruined. And so
Yeah.
it was it's gratifying and a little bit intimidating for some people, saying, what, you mean this stuff isn't just made up? I said, no, this is all technical facts. The characters are made up to be able to illustrate this, and the story is the big draw in our estimation.
Yeah. And I mean, identity theft is still something that's still very real in 2025.
Yeah.
It's still very, very real. So besides books, because I mean, the content that the two of you are putting out is so critical for the world, honestly speaking, for myself included. Besides your writing content, is there any other sort of channels that you use to get your message out there to the world?
Yeah, actually, we did a historical fiction. Somebody asked us one time, these are group guys. These are really swell folks. Where'd they come from? How'd they get their start? And so we went back and wrote a prequel to the Enigma series called Out of Poland. And it basically sets the stage for how the art group came about, because the Germans ran into the Poland and subjugated it inside of 30 days. But these three patriots, even though they saw their country humbled, they swore to hit back, and so they stole an important piece of telecommunications equipment from the Germans, the Enigma machine, and got it to the Brits to be able to help break it. But before they did, they made a copy and basically learned its secrets and became their own information dynasty. And of course, their moral high ground is based on the fact that the tyranny of an aggressor has to be fought all the time, and that's what the art group does in the first 12 books of the series.
There was a movie about this, if I'm not mistaken, Enigma. Yeah. Now I'm connecting dots because I was actually going to ask you, Charles, why are you so into World War II? I recall watching a movie about this. So this was that machine, so that predicted, the next moves that the Nazis were going to make, something that sort.
Yes. So what the Enigma machine would do, it would take normal text and then through a keyboard and a series of rotors and some mathematical algorithms, it would scramble the stuff so it was unreadable. And they would send this in a wireless mode, and the guys on the other side would take that information, feed it in, and basically take that gib and turn it back into written commands. And their communications were unreadable. You couldn't intercept it, and at that point in time, they had the upper hand. And so that's why the breaking the Enigma machine, the code, was so important for Europeans to be able to get that to that stage where they were reading it as fast as they were reading it, and the Germans didn't know. And so it was there were several things where it's a remarkable set of circumstances when you have the genie out of the bottle, as it were.
Yeah. This just shows us, how advanced technology was even back then.
Yes.
I mean, wow.
Now you asked about other media. We've actually taken that out of Poland and turned it into a screenplay and shopped it for a couple of different places that have given us some good praise. We haven't won the top slot. We haven't had a producer go berserk and say, "OMG, how much? We need to buy it, and we're gonna put it on the silver screen." But we like the different medias. We like the challenge. Okay, that's there it is.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, thank you for refreshing my memory. Now I know, the name Enigma, where it came from, because I definitely watched that movie. Definitely. So what's your like, Charles, for you personally, what's your, I don't know, what's your takeaway from World War II? What excites you the most? It wasn't a great period, but like, what excites you the most? Or why World War?
I'm a student of World War II. I find it fascinating. The world gone insane, and it's probably the best place that you can say this was good, that was bad, and this country was good, that country was bad, and it probably the last time you would ever get to see that completely good versus completely bad, and so and then I guess the heartbreak for the losers. I find the Eastern Front between Germany and Russia the most insightful, because it was do or die, and nobody wanted to give up, and it was like, how did this ever get started? Is always the question that pops in my mind, and you read through this, and that kind of gives you that taste of what in the technology world, where it's like, how did this get started? Cryptocurrency, and the banking system terrified of it, completely terrified of it, because they don't know how to be able to manage it. And there's a way to be able to get around it. Okay, for the standard folks, that sounds really good, except that the criminal elements have embraced it to the point where it's like, we got whole divisions of government agencies, and that's all they do is track the ebb and flow of the cryptocurrencies and the blockchain material to see who's cheating, who's making money off of the fentanyl products, who's doing human trafficking and collecting crypto for it. That's it's almost like, how unfair to take an interesting concept like cryptocurrency and basically have it let it underwrite the criminal elements around the planet.
Yeah. I'm trying to picture this, okay? If I want to commit now money laundering or cryptocurrency, I would still have to some way, somehow deposit physical money into an account to get it onto the blockchain. Now,
Yep.
why isn't that picked up?
So that's the easy way to be able to do that. But if you've got several sources, and and here's the way it works in the money laundering arena. I take let's say $100, and I dump it into an innocuous amount, but I have multiple wallets that I use to be able to do that with. Then I take and aggregate those dollars through a complicated system of multiple wallets and exchange systems where it goes from one currency to another in smaller or larger accounts. As well, you move money together, you split money into smaller pieces, and then it ends up in a wallet. Really hard. You can track the stuff, and there are products that will let you track it. But the more sanitation that you do on it, the more exchanges where it's like, your exchange mixers, and those are the people that the government really doesn't like, because they're there for one purpose only, to change it from one currency to the next, and then they use that technology, that methodology to be able to make it so that you can't really see who's getting the money, where it's going in multiple wallets, and then you start pulling stuff out.
Yeah.
And that's where the money laundering magic comes into place. If you do it correctly, it's almost impossible to track. The best people on the planet for doing money laundering is North Korea, apparently, because they typically pull in a couple of $1 billion of money that they ripped off and stolen from them from their wallets. It's a remarkable scenario, but there's several bad actors that come up, and the North Korean ones seem to be the most prominent, because they're trying to take that money to fund their weapons projects.
Right. Quite interesting. Eh? If I if I am running a criminal organization, it's like I need a whole team, just to do this for me. Right?
Yes.
Like a whole entire team, just to do this for me. So, I mean, I'm not sure whether it's in your books yet or it will come to your books. What is your take on central bank digital currencies, and how does that fit into the future?
That's a wannabe story, and it looks suspicious, because it's like, okay, central banks, we're going to go through this. We're going to make it so that the regular person can actually trust the stuff, because I don't think I can't. I mean, I know how it works. I see how the mechanics of it. I study it. Of it. Oh wait, forget it. You're out of your mind. And central banks doing that. I have to be just as suspicious of them as I am the cryptocurrency money laundering slugs.
You really never know who's behind it. I mean, you can look at some of the owners and creators of various blockchains and or currencies, and you can kind of get an idea. But difficult to prove.
Yeah, because one of the videos I watched, it was the idea around CBDCs is all about control, and you'll be allocated a certain amount of money per month or per quarter, whenever, and then you'll have a certain period of time to actually utilize the funds, and if you don't, the government is going to take it away. So it's all these scenarios and predictions, true or false, are just out there in the world. And it's a minority for now. It is a minority for now. Bulk of the masses, they don't even know any of what we're talking about now. What we can take away from this, I'm probably still going to need to elaborate to an audience. But it's something we should be informed about. If we look at, the US and Donald Trump at the moment, it's pro-crypto, which makes now the whole world pro-crypto. So it's a topic, we need to definitely be educated on.
That's a true statement. But I guess the fundamental thing that I would admit to that I don't have any trust in it. I just don't. And if you don't have trust in a product or currency, I mean, because currency really doesn't do you anything. I mean, fiat currency, you can print it, and we all agree. Okay, fine. This particular product, we're going to take this many bills to be able to purchase it. Okay, it's a medium of exchange. It doesn't, and it's the trust factor. Which currency do you value, and do you trust? And then that. And because for the decades that they spent making sure that it is trustworthy, it is something that can be, I can save it, I can spend it. They also engineer the inflation so that they're ebbing away at your dollars. But to the most part, I can depend on fiat currency to a point, and it's enough for me to trust it in this vernacular. I can't do that with crypto because of the way of all the trapdoors and levers and things that are built in that somebody's going to navigate me into a blind alley, and I'm just not. I don't have the trust, and so until they have the trust of the product, and I'm not going to be the first adopter. Forget it. That's we have a saying here in Texas. The difference between farmers and the pioneers. The pioneers are the ones with arrows in their back. So I'm not going to be a pioneer. I'm going to be a farmer after it's been sanitized, because by that time all of the kinks have been removed. But I don't have that level of confidence currently.
Yeah.
I don't care who says I'm pro crypto. Okay, fine. There's several people like that saw all their savings leave in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. I actually had an author from Canada who said it's an illusion.
Yeah.
It's an illusion.
Yeah. Well, it's the greatest Ponzi scam I've ever seen. And the Ponzi scam is, are you familiar with the Ponzi scam technique?
The Ponzi scam.
Ponzi scam, yeah.
But I mean, if you want to, share some insight on it.
Yeah, there was a gentleman by the name of Charles Ponzi, and he figured out, and this is an old, this is like over 100 years old. This technique. I got this swell thing for you to buy. Here, I'll give you 15%, 20% return, and money comes in, and you pay off the money that you promised. And people go, wow. They talk to their friends, and they want to in too. And the money comes in, and they basically you're paying the people who came in first with the money from the people coming last. And as if the money flow does not continue to grow, and people start getting antsy and start saying, okay, well, I want my money now. I'm not interested in the 20% return that you talked about. And that's usually when they vanish with all the goods that they've been laundering. Bernie Madoff currently was probably the biggest character in that arena. He got caught giving too much money, paying too much money out, and all the beginning investors started leaving, and of course the money dries up. The people coming in are ruined because they thought I could make this work. So the Ponzi, the cryptocurrency looks so much like that. And how many times have you seen? This cryptocurrency, this new one came online last year, and they're all gone. They're looking for the people who were marketing it, and they're on these nice big ships in the Mediterranean, floating around, having a good time because they stole everybody else's money. So, the trapdoor is closed, and there's nobody getting away with it because they get away with it for a while, but. It's a funny thing about getting away and getting the money and then getting away. That's always the trick, and that's one of the story threads we like to camp onto when we're doing stories.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. It's a world that you just have to be so vigilant in. You know, you just have to be so vigilant. I can't recall the name of the company. I know the owner was Sam something. I
Sam
mean, he's
Bankman, Dave
yes,
Fried Bankman.
Sam
Yeah,
Bankman.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
there we go.
yeah. He did the
Look
same
what
thing.
happened there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was he was handing out money faster than when he could bring it in, and then slopping money, pulling money out of the Alameda research, just because he said, "Hey, do it like this." They all fell in line. They all did everything, and he's going to be in jail through to the next century. So that's a good thing. What they say, pays to advertise.
yeah, no, 100%. Thanks. This was quite educational. So, you guys are self-published, or do you work through a publisher?
So we have our own small press.
Small press. Okay.
Mhm.
And how's that working for you? Is it more recommended than looking for a publisher itself for independent creative author that's, up and coming at the moment?
It just depends on someone's preference. Years ago, when people were with the big publishing houses, they were spoiled. They were cared for. They were taken places. They were, put on TV shows. They were doing that, and the publishing house did all the marketing for them and everything else. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. So people are moving into small press or a small publishing company where they can get that kind of support and service. The hardest thing, truly, about writing a book and making sure that people are aware of it is the marketing side. So marketing, is probably, unfortunately, it's probably 80% of what you have to do. Writing's very small compared to the marketing that you have to do. So we have our own YouTube channel. We publish different little shorts and things like that on our YouTube channel. So if people want to follow us, Enigma series on the YouTube channel, we so invite them to do that.
Well, one of the things that Kino, we've been told several times by authors who got picked up by a publishing house, they groused about it and they have gone to become indie publishers. They basically do it themselves. And the reason was creative control.
Yeah.
Well, that was what they got was, okay, here's my manuscript. I think the cover still will take care of it. How much advertising are we going to do? Well, you're going to be, the 10th one. And it's like, wait a minute, you've ruined the cover. And you made it, where did the last 100 pages go? Well, we thought you couldn't, the complaint was you lost creative control if you turn it over to a major publisher, because we know what we're doing and this is all we're going to do. And oh, by the way, you need to help market this stuff. Well, what is your schedule? And let us know. And we'll put it on our website to let people know that you've paid for your own airfare to go to a speaking engagement. And the one author said, "Golly, I might as well be self-published if you're going to do all this to me and ruin my stories." So a lot of people have left that arena to have retained the creative control that they lost when they signed up.
Yeah, creative control, what we all seek for, where there's no red tape. Just, to know the pros and cons of it both. Rox, you used a key percentage number, 80%. And, to the listeners, I mean, it pops up, each and every week on the show. 80% business, 20% creative work. It works the same in the music industry. Putting that track together requires 20% of my time. 80% is marketing this track.
Exactly.
You have to focus on it. It is so important.
Well, and it's funny. I spoke with a woman last week, and somebody told her she's been writing her memoir, and it's going to be a very, very good memoir because she's been to a lot of places. She's had a very exciting life. But somebody told her book would only have a 6-month shelf life. And so she's like, why do I want to spend a year writing this story only for a 6-month shelf life? And I said, but that's not what you have. If you're marketing all the time, you're extending the shelf life, because how many potential readers are there for this genre, for what you've written? You can't reach them all in the first day that you publish. You have to keep going after these people to make sure that they're aware. The more it's like having the honor to be on your show, Kino, because you are in a different marketplace than we've normally been in. It is an honor for us because now you're allowing us to share our work with your fans. And so it's just part of how it keeps going.
Yeah, so critically important. So with regards to marketing, and I truly believe, what works for one won't necessarily work for the next person. You have to find what works for you when it comes to marketing, depending once again, who your audience is, who your target audience is. What has worked for the two of you till date?
So we do have social medias that we target. We tend to target the YA and a little bit older group because they're the ones who are most threatened by technology. And so, we have little gems of how to help yourself in the technology world. If you read this, you're going to find a way that, I should probably do what that character's doing so I can be a little safer here or safer there. So social media is one of it. Interviews like this, we absolutely love, because we love talking to people. We like being in front of people. So we can go to book festivals. We've even gone to Comic-Cons and done extremely well with those kinds of venues.
The thing about marketing, there is almost nothing as good as talking directly to the author, being in front of somebody and saying, here's what we wrote, and here's why. Here's how it. But you can't reach everybody. You can't be face to face with everybody, and so it's you need bits and pieces of all of them to be able to get the market penetration that you're looking for, and getting awareness to people like, oh wow, I didn't know, and that's what you're trying to break through. But FaceTime like this, I mean, this is great because we get a chance to be able to for people who listen to us and say, okay, maybe we're not what they were looking for to read or listen to, or maybe it's delightfully wonderful, and they can't wait to be able to get off and get to our website to find the next thing that they want to be able to invest in.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say 50 years ago, okay, if you were an author, right, you had to wait in this long line, hoping that you will get a radio interview. In this era, one of the positives of technology, now you can jump onto a podcast. Podcasts are trending, and now you got that global reach. From Texas to South Africa. You couldn't do that 50 years ago, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And we meet so many interesting people like yourself.
Yeah, you could never do that. Which, I am, just as you are honored, I am also honored, to interact with an international audience as well, and creators from all around the world, I was thinking in my head, when you mentioned the older generation, I think of my parents, whenever I mention technology to them, it becomes a laughing scenario because, I'm trying to explain to them, look, this is how this works. This is how this works. So, and I should actually get a copy of your books for them if they will even read it, and there's an element of fear, there's also an element of fear when it comes to the older generation. It's not that I don't want to read it or I don't think it's going to add value. It's like, no, this is impossible. When I attempt to tell my parents how the banking system really works, no, it doesn't. Until you find out the hard way that that's how it works. And then you're like, but there's no accountability, and this is how it is. That's how your relationship with your parents are. They'll never tell you, oh, no, you're actually right about it. So it's good that it is there because, I mean, that element of fear, they need to be educated on it. So I'm glad, that that is your target audience. For the younger generations, I mean, your millennials or Gen Zs, yes, there's a good percentage like myself, who are into reading books. For the others, I hope that, they built the algorithm well enough on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram where they're getting educational, content about these topics. So, no, that's great. No, thank you so much. Honestly, thank you. This has really been insightful. And, this really fits into the creative space so well. For the listeners who don't know how well yet, that's when they actually need to reach out to me outside the podcast, but it fits in so well. So where can people find you online?
I think the best way is to go to enigmaseries.com. So ENIGMASERIES.com. There are samples of our books out there, both PDF files and audio samples. There are book trailers out there. You can certainly link to our YouTube and watch different videos that we've created, which we would love feedback on that. We'd love to have people subscribe to us on YouTube or connect with us, and we'll send you, we email about once a month and talk about new things that are going on, and certainly people can subscribe. And we have free downloads, free downloads like tips and tricks on how to be safe on the internet is one of the free downloads. So
yeah, I'm going to sign up. Okay.
Good.
I'm there. I'm there. Now, Charles, Rox, thank you so much for coming on. This is one of those conversations where it's like, okay, yeah, it's creative work, but it's also critical topics that we really need to be aware of, and how to stay safe online. Not living with that anxiety of, I got, say, $1 million, in an account or a crypto wallet, and what if something happens? Is it in the right place? And then you just live with that anxiety. So where do I really put my money? If I put it in the bank, okay, how safe is that? If I put it into a crypto wallet, how safe is that? If I put it under my bed, okay, that's not safe as well. The house can burn down. It's one of those times. It's one of those times. But thank you for all that you do and for educating individuals such as myself and the entire world on this topic. Much appreciated.
Much appreciated you inviting us in and spending an hour. It was very gratifying to be able to chat with you. You're a lot of insightful questions that I was like, oh wow, I haven't had anybody ask me that one for a while. So I appreciate your knowledge level for for our particular world in the techno-thrillers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wasn't it? Yeah. Wasn't it? Like with what was given to me by Mickey. Much love to Mickey again. I've started to give him love on the show as well. Because he's bringing us all together. When I read what he sent me, I'm like, okay, we're going into technology. Yeah, so. It was going to be quite insightful for me personally as well, as an individual. But I'm glad, at least, I could relate to it. And for the audience, for the listeners, where to find Charles and Rox, and it will be in the description as well. But please reach out to me personally for that direction, If you want to take it further, please, Amazon, purchase the books. And I'm glad that you guys also, give free content as well. Well done on that. Unlike, I don't think I've ever had a creative. There's a lot of creatives that still believe in free, just to reel more people in. So keep doing it. Keep doing it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much once again.
Have a great day.
Okay,
Bye-bye to
you
your
too.
fans.
Bye.
Bye.